2 of that clause, which talks about a disbursement schedule prepared by the county treasury and submitted to the county assembly for approval together with the county appropriation bill under section 129.7. Mr. Speaker, I think this is something that needs to be looked at so that we don't bog down county assemblies on matters of disbursement schedule, which, Mr. Speaker, is never adhered to. Even here in this house, we pass this schedule, but no one bothers to follow it. Our counties, for example, are running without the disbursement for August, the disbursement for September, and October, Mr. Speaker. So I think this matter of disbursement, we need to enhance it so that it should be disbursed strictly in compliance with the schedule that has been passed. Otherwise, there will be no need of passing this schedule, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Clause 7, Section 119A, talks about the viewer rights, that the controller budget shall have viewer rights access to all bank accounts maintained by the county executive, the county assembly, and all other county government entities. Mr. Speaker, this is very progressive. How I wish that the same can be done to the PFM Act so that the controller budget does not just approve expenditure, but he or she has access to the expenditures as indicated in the bank accounts. Because, Mr. Speaker, what counties do is that they seek approval, make requisitions, and then once approval has been given, they pay other things. That is what is called diversion of funds, Mr. Speaker. So this particular section, if implemented, it will enhance accountabilities of the monies that has been sent to our county assemblies. But this should also be amended on the PFM Act so that the controller budget has access to the bank accounts of these counties so that he can know how monies are being used, and we will be able to know whether there is any diversion of funds to other things, and which is a common practice in our counties. Mr. Speaker, this bill is very progressive. This bill is long overdue, and I want to thank Deputy Speaker for sponsoring this particular bill. We cannot continue seeing our members of county assemblies suffering, Mr. Speaker. When we go to the village, we see these leaders live in abject poverty, Mr. Speaker, and we are doing nothing about it. But this time, Senate has done something about this. But even as we pass this, Mr. Speaker, yes.
What is the point of order, Senator Boni?
Mr. Speaker, I was giving my younger brother time to come to his conclusion, but he has raised a very important point. Understanding order number 105, you know that this House has raised the bar for accountability by impeaching the Deputy President. Can you substantiate who are these people at the Office of the Controller of Budget who must be given money in order to approve requests? We want to really help Madam Margaret Nyakyang to be in charge of this very important institution. Could you help us their names?
Yes,
Mr. Speaker, I think my good friend and my neighbor did not listen to me carefully. I never used the word money. I said greeting. I talked about greetings. Greeting does not necessarily mean money, Mr. Speaker. Greeting can be, I can shake your hand. That does not mean that I've given you money, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I think...
So who are those that must be greeted? I think that's what that is the point of order that is being raised.
Mr. Speaker, I did not mean to suggest that there is an exchange of money at that office.
Proceed, Senator.
Yes, I just meant that, but I understand Dr. Khalwale knows what I mean. So, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, a majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wanted to support Senator Osotsi that he should not agree to be intimidated by the majority whip, because what he's saying is factual. None other than the majority leader in this House has stated that this habit of members of a county executive committee for finance have to travel all the way from as far as Moyale, Tana River, Kericho, Kilifi, to come and meet with officers from the Office of the Controller of Budget, Mr. Speaker, to get their budget approvals, is a practice that this House must bring to an end. The man who is responsible for that practice is none other than this whip, because he sits in the Budget and Finance Committee, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I expect the whip to be telling Senator Osotsi when they are likely to invite Madam Margaret, so that together with CBK, they can inform the Senate when this very archaic practice will stop. Therefore, Senator Osotsi is right, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed to conclude your remarks.
Thank you, Majority Leader. You know, Majority Leader has been here for 3 times, so he understands these things. And also Senator Kalwale knows this. But I don't want to dwell much on that. Mr. Speaker, I will say that this bill will really help our leaders in the grassroots, called the MCS, to try and be effective in terms of offering primary oversight in our counties, because the situation that we see in our counties, we keep on blaming our MCS, but we must also look at the conditions of working of our MCS, that if they have challenges in meeting their financial needs, they will not perform the role of primary oversight very effectively. We have even seen in some counties, MCS have become people who just move around with the governor and defending governors, because they have no choice, Mr. Speaker. They will depend on handouts from the governor. But we want a situation where our MCS are independent of the county executive, and therefore they are able to perform their role very effectively, very independently. And this bill by the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Speaker, guarantees that. The only thing I would ask is, Mr. Speaker, you know, we pass so many bills in this House, but when they go to the National Assembly, they stay there without being acted on, and eventually they lapse. I hope the members of the National Assembly are listening to us, and they also are sympathetic to the situation of our MCS, and they will be able to pass this bill in record time so that it becomes an act of parliament, and we will solve this long-standing problem affecting our very important leaders at the grassroots, the MCS. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Senator Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Senator Osotsi has raised a very, very important point this afternoon, which has always actually been supported by the majority leader. So, Senator Osotsi, the point of clarification is that are you in any likely manner to also bring another amendment so that the system can be automated such that the COB, Control of Budget, approves monies to the counties online without coming to Nairobi to queue and to bring greetings to Nairobi? Because there is a provision, you can as well make an amendment to this bill. I'll be very glad if you do that.
Well, Senator Osotsi, you may seek to bring an amendment in that regard. Senator Chimera.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa fursa hii. Kwanza niseme mimi naunga mkono mswada huu. Kama kuna mswada katika muhula wangu nimekaa katika bunge hili, Bwana Spika, ambao ni wa muhimu sana na unafaa kupewa kipaumbele, Bwana Spika, ni mswada huu ambao umeletwa hapa bungeni na naibu spika Mheshimiwa Senator Kadhuri kutoka kaunti ya Meru, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, ni jambo la kushangaza kuona kwamba mabunge yetu ya kigatuzi ambayo kisheria yanafaa kuwa mstari wa mbele kumhakiki gavana ama utendakazi wa serikali zetu za kaunti, Bwana Spika, kuona kwamba wanakosa fedha, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, ikiwa tutaweza kuyanyima mabunge ya kaunti yetu fedha kuendesha utaratibu wao, kuendesha shughuli zao, kuendesha biashara zao, Bwana Spika, na fedha hii inaweza kupewa gavana, kwa kweli basi tunaona kwamba ugatuzi upo katika hatari kubwa, na ndiposa tumeweza kujionea sisi kama wananchi ubadilifu wa fedha katika kaunti zetu, kwa sababu mabunge ya ugatuzi yameshindwa kufanya kazi yao, Bwana Spika. Na ni wazi kuona kwamba ukipatia fedha zile kaunti zetu, Bwana Spika, wataweza kufanya mikutano yao, Bwana Spika, wataweza kuhakikisha kwamba pale waziri ama gavana amedorora katika kazi yake, Bwana Spika, anaweza kuitwa, anaweza kukosolewa na kazi inafanywa sawa, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, vile vile hawa wajumbe wetu wa County Assembly, Bwana Spika, wana majukumu mengi, Bwana Spika. Ikiwa fedha ile lazima clerk aende kumnyenyekea na kumuomba waziri wa fedha katika kaunti, Bwana Spika, tunapoteza maana yote ya ugatuzi, Bwana Spika. Na nikupongeze naibu spika kwamba wewe mwenyewe umeona katika akili yako na fikra yako kwamba ipo haja kuhakikisha kwamba mabunge yetu ya kaunti hizi yameweza kuwezeshwa, ndio ili waweze kufanya ile oversight role yao. Kando na sisi maseneta, Bwana Spika, lazima tuwe mstari wa mbele kuhakikisha kwamba hawa wabunge wa ugatuzi, ma MCAs, wamepata fursa safi na kamili, wamewezeshwa, wamepata mafunzo, Bwana Spika, na fedha ipo ya kuwawezesha wafanye kazi yao. Ndio gavana ambaye anakuwa mbadilifu, gavana ambaye anakosa kufanya kazi yake, Bwana Spika, hawezi kutumia kukosa kwa fedha kama kigezo cha kuhakikisha kwamba huduma hazionekani na huduma hazipatikani katika kaunti yetu, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, ukiangalia kaunti yangu ya Kwale kwa mfano, Bwana Spika, kumekuwa na kelele na hatihati kuhusu hali yote ya utendakazi, hususan idara ya afya, Bwana Spika. Na mimi kama seneta, kama mwanachama wa kamati ya afya, Bwana Spika, nimeweza kuketi na wale ma MCAs ambao ni wanachama wa kamati ya afya katika bunge la Kwale, Bwana Spika. Wakanieleza wao tatizo lao kubwa zaidi ambao linawasibu, Bwana Spika, ni kwamba hawana hata fedha ya kuweza kufanya kikao na waziri wao, Bwana Spika. Hawawezi kufanya mkutano na kuhakiki uendeshaji wa hali ya afya katika kaunti yetu, Bwana Spika. Na hii ni taswira ambayo iko katika kaunti nyingi, Bwana Spika. Sio vizuri kwamba kiongozi atakwenda bungeni na kose sauti kwa sababu hana fedha, Bwana Spika. Mimi ninakuunga mkono sana, nataka niseme kwamba kama kuna seneta ambaye anafahamu kazi ya kuwa seneta, Bwana Spika, basi ni wewe naibu spika kupitia mswada huu, na nina imani kwamba bunge letu la Senate limeona umuhimu zaidi ya kuhakikisha kwamba tumeunga mkono sheria hii. Na sote tuunge mkono, Bwana Spika, tuipitishe kwa haraka iwezekanavyo, ndio mswada huu, Bwana Spika, uwe sheria. Ndipo tukisonga mbele, Bwana Spika, wale ndugu zetu ambao ni ma MCAs waweze kupata afueni ya kufanya kazi yao pasipo kumnyenyekea, kwenda kumpigia magoti gavana, Bwana Spika. Na hii fedha vile vile pia naomba wakati inaweza kutoka katika wizara ya fedha, itoke moja kwa moja imfikie yule clerk wa bunge la county zetu hizi, Bwana Spika, bila vigezo vyovyote. Na nimpongeze Senator Otsosi na pia kiongozi walio wengi hapa kwa ile kauli yake ya kwamba wale maafisa ambao wamezoea kuleta chokochoko, kuleta unafiki na kuleta vigezo vya kwamba fedha hii haiwezi fika bila nyinyi kuleta mahesabu yenu, nafikiri sio sawa kisheria, Bwana Spika, na pengine ipo haja ya Senator Otsosi kutuletea yale marekebisho kuhakikisha kwamba fedha hii ikitoka katika wizara ya fedha inakwenda moja kwa moja kwa maeneo bunge yetu ya county bila msukosuko wote, bila vigezo vyovyote, ndio ili tuwapatie fursa wale ma MCAs wetu waweze kufanya kazi yao, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, kwa hayo mengi au machache, mimi naunga mkono mswada huu, Bwana Spika. Asante.
Asante sana. Next is the Senator Manzo Daniel, Makueni County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity. to contribute to this very important law. Mr. Speaker, I want first of all to thank you for having been thoughtful. And for those who may not know, I've been with you in this parliament for 12 years. And I am very much aware you are one person who's been a solution finder for many people of Kenya. Earlier in the Ministry of in the Committee of Agriculture, and many times you have solved, Mr. Speaker, problem related to the people of Kenya. And I really want to congratulate you and thank you for this very thoughtful solution of devolution. And I want to say that, Mr. Speaker, this law is so important, Mr. Speaker. Devolution in this country has been stuck for the last 12 years for a very simple reason. In your own introduction, you have said independent, independent and separation of power, so that there is independence of the county assemblies, Mr. Speaker. In the country for the last 12 years, many county assemblies have been tied to the governor in many ways. And for them to receive government development in their respective wards, they had to rely heavily on the governor and have to be submissive on the governor. Yet, they are supposed to oversight the governor, to impeach the governor where there are reasons, and to make sure that oversight is so applicable and so strict. And that would not have happened without the independence of the assemblies. Mr. Speaker, for many counties, before the assembly makes any move, they have to look for the governor or the systems of the governor to get their monies released. And Mr. Speaker, there has been delay. But with this law, Mr. Speaker, the county assemblies will be independent. They will monitor their own budget. They will make their own plans. And they will oversight the governors very well. Mr. Speaker, a lot of MCAs in the country have been reduced to beggars. They are with the people on ground. Most of them spend their nights at the village. Very early in the morning, every emergency at night, it has to go to the MCA, and the MCA then has to contact the senator. And then it goes like that. By the time they get to the MP, by the time they get to the governor, the first point of contact of the Kenyan people is the MCA. And therefore, senators have been very supportive to MCAs so far. I personally have been supportive to the MCAs of Makueni, and now I'm very supportive to this law because I know it will free the MCAs from bondage, and it will make the MCA more effective, and to make the MCA more strengthened, more powerful, and able to deliver services to the people. Therefore, this is a law which is like revolution. It is going to change. Devolution is going to make it better. I believe everybody in this house will support it, and when it goes to the National Assembly, myself and you, we have a lot of contacts there. We are familiar with how the place works. This is a law we want to go express so that as soon as possible, it is put into practice and the assemblies are empowered. Now, the clerk of the county assembly is a very crucial person in this law. Most clerks are very well trained. They are qualified. They have the experience, and they are able to be, the people who will make sure that this money is spent well. They are going to be the accounting officers of this money. They will be answerable to this Senate. Every other time we call the county assemblies here, there are so many missing gaps, Mr. Speaker, when we want them to account. And then the delays will no longer be there, and they will be responsible directly to the people and directly to Treasury. And therefore, there will be every need, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that this happens. Now, the good news about this law, Mr. Speaker, is that the County Public Finance Law, which is an amendment bill of the main act, that is the Public Finance Management Act, will now have a branch which deals with the counties directly. And that particular amendment is very crucial because when it comes to the national government, then the act applies. When it comes to the counties, then the new branch of laws applies. And therefore, everybody will be held to account, and all the money is going to for the purposes of the movement and the operations of the county assemblies will be made very important. I want to agree with with the Honorable Otsotsi, and I will support his amendment so that the act could flow. And then, if you look at 109B, the administrative expenses as may be incurred by the fund makes this act, under this act is under any other law and for any other purpose provided in the Constitution or any other written law. Meaning this act is not independent of other laws. It is subject to the Constitution. It is subject to operation of, cooperation of statutes, other acts of parliament, which will work together with this to make it stronger. So it is not in conflict of any other written law. It is in consonance with it. And at times that becomes a point of litigation when there are parallel laws applying on one thing. But this is so specific, carefully thought, and solving a problem which has been bedeviling the counties for some time. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, if you look generally at all those provisions, and even section 136 of the Public Finance Amendment Act, which is now being amended by deleting subsection 2 and substituting, thereof with the conclusion of this act, that if at the end of the financial year, a county government entity is holding appropriated money that was withdrawn from the county exchequer account or at the county assembly fund account, but has not been spent, it shall apply, it shall continue to be used, and again, it means that money will not be returned. Let me not read all of it. The monies will not be returned to the treasury, as has been the problem and during closure of financial year. So it means from the closure of financial year, activities will run of the county assembly June, July, August, up to about September when the new financial year begins. So it means the activities of the county assembly and the activities of the county government will not stall, and oversight will not go unchecked for some days, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, this very important law, I hope the county assemblies in Kenya will welcome it, and the county governments in Kenya will welcome it, and also the national government will welcome it, so that, Mr. Speaker, we can serve this country better, and the Senate, which is the senior house, continues to make sure that devolution works, and the common Kenyan, a common Mwananchi, is served at the grassroots level, because that's the whole idea of devolution, taking development to the grassroots and making sure that agriculture, health, water, land are fully devolved and are able to serve the people of Kenya as grassroots. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Okay, the next is Senator William Kipkemoi Kisan.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to contribute and support this motion that you've come up with, Honorable Speaker. If you remember, I think after the 6th Parliament, the National Assembly then was an arm of Office of the President. And the members of Parliament every Thursdays, I'm told, I was not there, that they used to go and collect the allowances from Office of the President. So basically there was no independence of National Assembly then. This is the same problem that our county assemblies are facing, Honorable Speaker, that this law now is going to liberate them. They'll be independent from the county executives, Honorable Speaker. I believe this is one of the reasons why there are conflicts between the executive, especially the governors, CC's finance, and the county assemblies because of maybe delays and tactful delays of release of funds to the county assemblies, Honorable Speaker, to curtail the oversight role, Honorable Speaker. In fact, about 3 weeks ago, we were in Wajir with Senator Abbas, and we met the Energy Committee of Wajir County Assembly, Honorable Speaker, and one of the things they complained about was release of resources by the county treasuries to help them to do proper public participation, for them to do proper oversight. Basically, they are curtailed. So this law is really going to liberate them and assist them to deliver the mandate of legislation, oversight, and representation, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it is also important, you know yourself, you were in the lower house and myself and associate for close to 10 years, Honorable Speaker. I believe you look for a progressive, even Manzo, a progressive members of National Assembly to maybe like a co-sponsor. You get a champion in National Assembly so that as soon as the bill is passed in this house, you get somebody who will champion. You know, sometimes when you're in National Assembly, you don't appreciate what Senate does until you arrive in Senate. So I think it is important that we start engaging our colleagues. We look for one who will champion, and we also want to urge our MCAs across the country so that every MCA in all the counties, everybody talks to their own member of National Assembly to champion so that the MPs support this bill so that they are liberated. I believe the MCAs are now watching, and we have told them, please, each of you, as soon as the bill leaves